In the heart of the ancient town of Ebe, there lived Fola, a young and brilliant teenager whose dreams of becoming an engineer was gradually fading before his eyes. He had written a scholarship exam to study tuition-free in any of the premier Nigerian universities, but narrowly missed the cutoff. The sad news of the result was so overwhelming that Fola could not go home. His entire family, especially his mom, had high hopes for him winning the scholarship because Fola's father had died, leaving her to cater for him and his two sisters. Fola sat at a nearby bus stop, looking dejected and defeated, staring at the rejection letter in his hands. The scholarship he had worked so hard for was gone, and all his hopes of becoming a worthy son were dashed. When Mama Fola later heard about it, it was a heavy blow. But her faith stood firm. She betrayed no negative emotions as she went about her food-selling business, holding tightly to the promise of God in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have towards you, says the Lord." Mama Fola believed that brighter days lay ahead, but for Fola, the future felt more uncertain than ever. Mama Fola was no stranger to the storms of life. After losing her husband, she single-handedly had to raise Fola and his two sisters with nothing but determination and faith. So in spite of this situation, she kept faith alive that God will come through for her son. God's plans are like seeds, she would tell him. You may not see them grow yet, but trust they will bloom. Her words were filled with hope, but to Fola, they felt distant, drowned out by the weight of his disappointment. Just when hope seemed lost, a surprising lifeline appeared. Okutadi, Mama Fola's wealthy brother-in-law, called and offered to fund Fola's education in the city. It was a next feeling for Mama Fola, who had been very careful and wary of the source of Uncle Tadi's wealth, and she had earlier warned her late husband about him. Mama Fola was not blind to the whispers around the town. But at this time, it seemed like answers to prayers. It seemed as though God may be using this opportunity to compensate them for the scholarship loss. She then decided to seek counsel from Pastor Amos, their local parish pastor. She listened to his wise words. He said, God's path often leads through trials. If this is his will, he will guide Fola. And if it's not God's will, it will fade away. But be strong. God's plans for your son will come to pass. And so, with hesitant hope, the expected be offered. So Fola packed his few belongings and set out on a journey to Lagos. He was thrilled and dazzled by the glamour of city life. Little did he know that a huge test awaits him. Uncle Tade was very welcoming and generous, but soon enough his generosity came with strings attached. One day, in his lavish office, Uncle Tade pushed a stack of papers towards Fola. "Sign these papers," he said curtly. "It's just business." But Fola didn't understand. He had begun to suspect Uncle Tade's shady lifestyle and wondered what he was up to this time. His heart hesitated. That very moment, his mother's teaching and Pastor Amos' words echoed in his mind. Fola summoned a bit of courage. He gently pushed the papers back. "Please, sir," he cried. "I can't do this," he said in a shrill, squeaky voice, frozen by fear. His refusal unleashed Uncle Tade's fury. "Do you know what you are doing? Do you think you can eat your cake and have it? So you either choose to sign and join my gang or you forget about your dictation. And by the time I return, you'd better pack out of my house." Within a few hours, Fola was out on the streets, homeless, confused, and alone. Under the city's cold street lights, Fola was walking, crying, and whispering a desperate prayer. "God, if you had a plan for me, please show me." It was a cry from the depths of his soul, a plea for direction in his darkest hour. As Fola was walking along, he had music and singing from a vibrant revival church down the street. Just as he sat down, the pastor's reverberating voice cut through his doubt. Sometimes, in God's perfect plan, He closes the wrong doors to open the right ones. According to Jeremiah 29 verse 11, He's got great plans to give you an expected end, even when things look bad. Fola suddenly felt a shift within him. At the end of the service, he rededicated his life to Christ and trusted God for his help moving forward. After the church service, Fola was stranded, not knowing where to go or what to do. With exasperation, he approached an elderly couple just outside the gates of the church. He shared his story with them, and immediately they were moved by his touching story. Mr. and Mrs. Alabi, perceiving that Fola was a diligent child, decided to offer him some help. They took him in, sponsored his education, after which he was gainfully employed. And with that, Fola's life took a turn he hadn't dared to imagine. Years later, Fola returned to his hometown, no longer the boy burdened by rejection, but a man transformed by grace. His story reminds us of Psalm 126 verse 1. When God turns the captivity of Zion, they were like them that dream. All of the people in the neighborhood gathered round. They celebrated his triumph. These were the same people that doubted him, but now they came to his home, and together, alongside his family members, they had a very great time. Fola and his mother and his two sisters went about distributing goods, food items, and donated school items, chairs, stationaries to the local school. This was how God changed Fola's story. Fola's journey from heartbreak to hope is a reminder for us all. When life seems darkest, trust that God's plans are still unfolding. As Jeremiah 29 verse 11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future." Believe in His timing. God is always perfect, and He will come through for you. It doesn't matter the situation right now. Hold on to His words. He will show up for you. Thank you so much for watching our beautiful story. If you like what we are doing, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so that anytime we drop a video, you'll be the first to know. Thank you so much. Until I come your way next time, God bless you.